Hello, it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the several issues on the orders of the day concerning the ninth legislature of National Assembly. The signing of a historic agreement in favor of low-income households. For the international scene, U.S. Museum traces the history of the Afro-American. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, on the eve of the anniversary of our country's national holiday and Eid al-Adha, extends his best wishes for health success and success to all Jewisans. The head of state wishes were expressed in a statement to the press in which he described the acquisitions of our sovereignty as a founding act of our loving together, the starting point of our nation's unceasingly renewed determination is to meet the challenges, all the challenges linked to its unity, cohesion, and development under the signs of solidarity and fraternity. Since that days of June 27, 1977, our republic has become stronger in its values and strengthened in its achievements, said the head of state. Each of us, where we are in our place with our skills and with our means, contribute to the greatness of our nation, to bring our unity, fraternity, and identity to life together, fraternity and our identity, which are the ingredient of our sovereignty, said the President of the Republic, congratulating in this part of his statement on the Independence Day festivity. President Guelleh said special tribute to those who sacrificed their lives for our countries and their lives for our emancipation. I pray to the Most High to welcome them into His paradise, he said, praying a heartfelt tribute to our forces of law and orders and security who preserve our national sovereignty at homes and abroad. In addition to these traditional greetings, the President of the Republic took advantage of his address to the nations to express his optimism about the state of our country. Despite a highly unstable international and unpredictable post-COVID context, our country is continuing to grow, continues to grow. He introduced citing investment in sectors, in strategic sector for our development, particularly in maritime transport, energy, and new technologies, redefined in the pursuit of our economic development effort. It is in this investment that guarantee the sustainability of our economic model, assured President Guelleh. The fact that social development was now a top priority of his government's redefined priorities. On this precise subject, the head of state also announced that the social development objectives would essentially be reflected in our housing policy, in particular in increasing the overall volumes of real estate, multiplying the supplies of social housings, and finally by making the concept of zero slums a reality on the ground. The social development will also be expressed through solidarity with the most disadvantaged and poorest of our fellow citizens. He emphasized it in line with the ethos of inclusive social development that benefits all our fellow citizens. The President of the Republic devoted the last part of his speech to the duty of solidarity, binding us to Sudan, the scene of a fratricidal war. As President of IGAD and in consultation with the other head of state in the region, we will ensure that the protagonists of this fratricidal conflict to find the means of appeasement and reconciliation. He promised, wishing all our compatriots a successful Eid al-Adha, particularly that all our compatriots, in particular our pilgrims who have gone to Mecca, to whom he prayed the most merciful to accept our repentance and forgiveness. The President of the Republic holds telephone talks with the Emir of Qatar. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, held telephone talks with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, mid-mornings on Mondays. Bilateral relations and ways and means of strengthening and further developing the already excellent ties between the two countries were discussed during the exchange. Discussions were then extended to the observations made by the mission of Qatari experts commissioned to draw up a study on investment opportunities in Djibouti. This mission was undertaken as part of the two countries' joint desire to increase their level of economic and investment exchanges. In addition, the two leaders exchanged their best wishes for Eid al-Adha. The Emir of Qatar then took the opportunity to express his warm congratulations to President Ismail Omar Guelleh and throw him to the entire Djiboutian peoples on the occasions of the celebration of our National Day. As for the head of state of Djibouti, he did not fail to express his warm congratulations to the Emir of Qatar, celebrating 10 years of the head of his country. Under your enlightening leadership, Qatar has recorded many positive achievements, said President Guelleh, who cited the success of organizations of the last World Cup as outstanding proof of Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani's successful leadership. The third public meeting of the first ordinary session is the National Assembly, in accordance with the Article 22 of the Rules of Procedures, held the third public session of the first ordinary session of the year 2023 on Monday, June 26, 2023, under the enlightened leadership of His Excellency Dileita Mohammed Dileita, President of the National Assembly, and in the presence of His Excellency Abdul Qadir Khan Mohammed, Prime Minister of the Republic of Djibouti, as well as parliamentarians and members of the government. The plenary's main objective was to examine the following bills: project number 10 and 239L on the creation of the National Agency for Promotions of Sport, the Bill 011E and 239L on the reorganization and operation of the Ministry of Health, the project number 2E and 239L on the creation of the University Hospital Center of Djibouti, the law on the adoption as financial account of the 2022 of Djibouti International Airport. At the opening of this plenary session, the President of the National Assembly, in his opening remarks, recalled the procedural stages of preparation that accompanies the tenuous third public session. The text submitted to the National Assembly gave rise to a rich and in-depth debate within the hemicycle. The parliamentarian dealt exhaustively with the several important issues for the country's development, including the promotion of sport, the functioning of the Ministry of Health, the creation of a university hospital, and the financial account of the Djibouti International Airport. Then the government, the member of government took the opportunities to answer his questions and provide answers to concerns raised at the end of the debate after the minister's clarification and parliamentary and favorable vote of before closing the public session. For his part, the Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, extended his warmest wishes to the national representations on the occasion of the celebration of the Independence Day and Eid al-Adha on behalf of all members of the government, and in his own name. He sends his warmest wishes for a happy June 27th to the President of the Republic, Head of Government, and to the First Lady on this historic day of celebrations of our independence and Eid al-Adha. His Excellency President Dileita Mohammed Dileita extended his warmest wishes to the national representations on the occasion of the celebration of Independence Day and Eid al-Adha on behalf of all parliamentarians, and in his own name, the President of the National Assembly, Dileita Mohammed Dileita, sends his warmest wishes for a happy June 27 to His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, and to the First Lady, President of UNFT, Her Excellency Khadra Mahmoud Haid, on this historic day of celebrations of our independence and Eid al-Adha. The President of the National Assembly hopes that this holiday will be an opportunity for all citizens to come together and to celebrate our nations in all its diversity and cultural richness. Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed this morning elevated Dr. Nicolas Georgalis to the rank of Commander of the Prime Minister's Office. Dr. Nicolas was honored for all his years spent in Djibouti and practicing his profession on the national territory. Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed congratulated Dr. Nicolas on his loyal services to the nation. The recipient thanked the Prime Minister for this significant distinction. Under the aegis of the Minister of Finance and Economy, accompanied by the Minister of Housing and the Minister of Solidarity, the managing directors of the Guarantee Fund signed an historic agreement this morning with the directors of the local conventional banking institutions. The aim of this initiative is to respond to the difficulties encountered by households on modest or illegal incomes in becoming homeowners and to promote access to affordable housing. In the same vein, another agreement will be signed with the Islamic banks in September this year, in addition to providing financial support for these households. The agreement will also encourage the provisions of microfinancing. This measure aims to help those with limited resources to access loans to their specific needs by broadening financing options. Modest Djiboutian families will have a better chance of realizing their dreams of having a stable, affordable home for their families. For her part, the Minister of Solidarity, Social Affairs Solidarity, Ulufa Ismail Abdo, said for her part that the agreement signed marks a decisive steps in the development of the mortgage market for low-income households. It extended the scope of an existing guarantee fund to home loans. This means that households with modest and irregular incomes will now be able to obtain mortgage loans at more advantageous rates with terms of up to 20 years, thus facilitating their path towards home ownership. The Minister of Housing, Amina Abdi Aden, said that this approach offers an attractive alternative for people who aspire to own their own home. By converting existing contracts, households will be able to enjoy the benefits of a mortgage, such as lower interest rates and greater financial stability. The ultimate aims of this agreement is to give disadvantaged households the opportunities to realize the dreams of owning their own home by introducing innovative financial solutions and supporting structural reforms. The government is affirming its commitment to building a more equitable and inclusive society. The Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Musa Dawale, has indicated that the signing of this agreement marks a decisive turning point in the country's housing policy, with its emphasis on access to affordable housing for all by collaborating with banking institutions and adopting concrete measures. The government is paying is paving the way for a future where every household, regardless of income levels, can realize the dream of stable, affordable housing. On the occasions of the 46th anniversary of independence and in anticipations of Eid al-Adha, the head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh, has signed a decree granting an in ex gratia remissions of 4-month sentences to 185 common law prisoners in the Gabon civil prison. 105 prisoners are sentenced to rigorous imprisonment and who had served their sentences in a prison establishment were released on Saturday, 24 June 2023 from the prisoners. 30 others prisoners sentenced to more than 4 months imprisonment will benefit from a 4-month sentence reductions this year. The 16 foreign nationals, 8 Ethiopian, 4 undetermined, 3 Somalis and 1 Yemenis in an irregular situation in our country, and who will be deported to their countries of origin. In fact, this is a measure of presidential indulgence which concerns only prisoners convicted by a final decisions and serving their sentences in a prison establishment in the Republic of Djibouti, according to the decree signed by the head of state. The beneficiaries of this measure are not prisoners convicted of the offense of illegal possessions of firearms, offenses against state security, sexual assault and rape, drug trafficking, human trafficking, corruption, terrorism, possessions of circulation of counterfeit banknotes, and recidivism. Finally, let's remember that the right to pardons is a legal power which belongs exclusively to the President of the Republic. Yesterday, the Ethiopian Shipping and Logistics Company celebrated an important milestone with the arrival of its new vessel, the Abai 2, at Djibouti Dorale Multipurpose DMP. The event was marked by the presence of high-ranking officials from Djibouti and Ethiopia, such as the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia to Djibouti, Mr. Berhane Skeye, and the Director of DMP, Jama' Ibrahim Darar, the Director of Maritime Affairs, Ali Mirah Shehem Daoud, and other high-level personalities, highlighting the importance of this achievement for bilateral relations and commercial cooperation. The Abai 2, named after the famous Ethiopian rivers, arrived in the port of Djibouti after a 16-day trip from the port of Vietnam under the rays of the morning sun, which bathed the port in a golden glow. The elegance and imposing vessels docked majestically, attracting the attentions of all present. The vision of the Abai 2 served as a powerful symbol of Ethiopian maritime competence and commitment to the development of trade and logistics operations. The ceremony began with a keynote address by the
a new chapter, and the beginning of our company history. It is the first of its kind, and the many more that will come.
His Excellency Berhane Skeye, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, addressed the participant, underlining the importance of this maritime breakthrough and the collaborative efforts between the two nations. Listen to him.
Lines is actively working toward its mission of delivering world-class shipping and logistics service by enhancing organizational capacity and focusing on the shipping sector through coastal and international marine transport service. Ethiopian Shipping Line connects Djibouti port with the major port around the world, ensuring seamless sea transport for the importers and exporters. Ethiopia and Djibouti share a common aspiration to improve trade flow and enhance bilateral cooperation. While we have made significant progress in strengthening economic ties, there is still much untapped potential that we must explore for the mutual benefit of our people. Bilateral agreements such as utilization of Djibouti port for transit cargo play a crucial role in facilitating efficient trade.
His Excellency Hassan Muhammad Arbahim, Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, took the floor to deliver a powerful speech highlighting the importance of maritime development for the growth and prosperity of both countries. The visions of the Abai II served as a powerful symbol of Ethiopia's maritime competence and commitment to the development of trade and logistic operations. The ceremony began with the keynote addresses and these modern vessels estimated at 27 million US dollar is expected to improve trade and transport operations, facilitate efficient logistics and promote economic growth. The highlight of the event was the ribbon cutting ceremony, where distinguished guests took part in the symbolic inaugurations of the Abai II. Attendees were then invited to explore the MV Abai II during an onboard tour. The vessel's ultra-modern designs and advanced facilities impressed visitors, demonstrating ESL commitment to maritime excellence and its potential to enhance Ethiopia's shipping capabilities. This major event not only celebrated the acquisitions of Abai II, but also strengthened bilateral relations between Ethiopia and Djibouti. The ceremony underlined both nations' commitment to fostering trade links and stimulating economic development in the region. This Sunday, June 25, 2023, a training completion ceremony was held in the Oboko Regional Council, hosted by its president and the prefect of the region. These training programs benefit 30 young people from Obok, as well as young people from the localities of Korangar and Dalayafa in blue economy trades for a week from June 19 to 25, 2023 at the Obok CDC. This training program, part of the Ministries of Youth and Culture summer activities, was carried out in collaboration with the Ministries of Environment and Sustainable Development, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fishery Resources and Waters. The ceremony was attended by strong delegations led by His Excellency Dr. Hibo Mumin Asawi, accompanied by Her Excellency Safiya Muhammad Ali Gadile, Secretary of State for Investment and Private Sector Development, and the Honorable Member of Parliament Fatuma Muhammad Hamadou. The event was also attended by executives from the two ministries, namely the Principal Technical Advisor, the Youth Advisor, the Director of the Regions, and the Director of Youth Economic Integrations of the Ministry of Youth and Culture is also present, the Director of Investment and the Director of External Relations of the State Secretariat in charge of Investment and Private Sector Development. In their speech, the local authorities agreed on the importance of preserving the marine environment and urged the youth of the Obok regions to make the most of these acquisitions as part of the blue economy. Finally, the ceremony ended with the presentations of certificates of completion by the officials present to the 30 young people who had followed the training course assiduously through their stay. The traditional family photo ended.
يا عسيل لهيا وبدوي كبالا يا عسيل لهيا للدبرهم فرح.
The Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asawi, stressed the need for young people to follow in the footsteps of those who have set up businesses in the blue economy in order to promote professional and economic integration. The entrepreneurial dynamic of the blue economy holds great promise for the growth of the private sector as a source of wealth and employment. These activities will be continued in the near future with the training on a training boat and economic integration of the best beneficiaries in the fishing industry under the supervision of the Obok Fishermen Cooperative. Finally, this activity initiated in Obok demonstrates once again the cross-cutting nature of the team of youth and the need for synergy of action. The INPH mission team, led by the Director General of the National Agency, Duali Saeed Mahmoud, had a fruitful exchanges with the Director of Education and Research, Miss Amy Haber-Knopf, PhD, and the Director of the Policy Advocacy, Miss Catherine Johnson, Deputy Director, Sharon Redmarcher, and the Senior Project Event Specialist, Miss Rebecca Dupré. The purpose of the missions was to establish and sign a memorandum of understanding on empowering people with disabilities in education and employment through research-based initiatives and all projects. The MOE is structured around the following areas. It is strengthening researches and scholarship in disability studies, linking the St. Cloud State University with other universities and national disability ministries. It collaborates in implementing the strategies recommended Djibouti strategic framework to people with disability. During the visit, the St. Cloud State University team showed us in its various learning campuses in its educational programs for deaf, blind, and autistic people, and also outlined the ongoing project for Chinese University linked to the development of a common sign language. The meeting provided an opportunity to establish a constructive dialogue between the two parties and share best practices in the respective countries. The two teams expressed their common desire to develop an employment and education for the people with disability. And the new prefect of the city of Djibouti, Mr. Abdi Sikiye Qayad, began an hours of contact and works in the capitals, the first and second and third district, the sub-prefectures on Sunday. The prefecture's delegations led by the chief Abdi Sikiye Qayad, accompanied by his deputy Halima Hassan Ibrahim, visited the sub-prefectures of the first district, where it was greeted with great enthusiasm. This first contact visit enabled the prefect Abdi Sikiye Qayad to meet with the sub-prefect of the first district, Mr. Abdi Hassan, in the presence of his principal collaborators. The new prefect then held a meeting with the district chief and elders. The fruitful exchanges between Abdi Sikiye and the elders focused mainly on ways and means of improving the delivery of public services. They also discussed the reinforcement of anti-sanitation and law order activities, as well as the preparations for the independence of the Eid festivity. And the second district, the prefect of Djibouti City and the members of his delegation were warmly welcomed by the sub-prefect Heibe Hared Gedid and the president of the commune of Pulaus, Abdul Qadir Iman. The sub-prefect, Mr. Heibe Hared Gedid, welcomes his guests, and the elders. The towers was a series of meetings with the sub-prefect and in communities visited. The Abdi Sikiye town's new prefect reassured the population for his firm commitment to working for the well-being of the population. Djibouti City Prefect Abdi Sikiye Qayad visited the Tersa district, where he was received by the sub-prefect of the Tersa district, Ms. Fatuma Hamad Ali. In the meeting, to the expectations of the population's Djibouti prefectural authorities has asked everyone to question themselves and follow the new patriotism and professionalism to observe punctuality, assiduity, and productivity at the workplace. The Rasdika commune organized a march to celebrate the 46th anniversary of our precious independence. The event brought together a host of personalities in a convivial atmosphere. The march perpetuated the commemorations of our 46th anniversary of independence while offering a moment of commitment to the nations and peace. Participants walked together along a symbolic route underlining the unity and pride of our country. This event of particular importance as a testimony to our commitment, our countries, and our determination to preserve the values of freedoms and independence that we hold dear. The presence of the political figures and various associations reinforced the festive and solemn characters of this commemorative march. Beyond the celebrations of the march, also gave participants the opportunities to reaffirm their commitments. As part of the 46th anniversary celebration, the neighborhood 3 and 7 enthusiastically celebrated their 46th anniversary of independence with a musical evening featuring well-known singers. Inhabitants of both districts gathered in Mays for this colorful ceremony in the presence of important political figures, strengthening the ties between the community and its leaders. The evening created a festive and joyful atmosphere, marking the attachment of the inhabitants to their countries and its culture. To celebrate the 46th anniversary of independence, the commune of Balbala hosted a large-scale musical evening. The colorful ceremony was hosted by the renowned singers, inhabitants of Site Nasib, and the large Balbala suburb gathered in mass to celebrate the memorable event. General Management and All Dorale Multipurpose Port and Port of Djibouti SA staff today celebrate our beloved country's Independence Day. A colorful ceremony was organized at DMP to mark the joy and relations of the national holiday, a ceremony dedicated to expressing the attachment to Republican values and the patriotism of the general management and the whole of DMP and PDSA. The ceremony held under the high authorities of DMP and PDSA Managing Director Jama Ibrahim Darar was celebrated under the banners of the nation's values of unity, equality, and peace. Taking advantage of the occasion, the managing directors of DMP and PDSA sent a message of best wishes for happiness, health, and prosperity to the people of Djibouti, and in particular to the staff of DMP PDSA. I present my best wishes for happiness, health, prosperity to the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, to his wife, to the government, and to all the armed forces and the security forces of our country, emphasizes the general manager of MP.
Alhamdulillah.
As part of its activity in honor of the 46th anniversary of Djibouti's independence, the Union of the National Women of Djiboutian Women, UNFD, organized a ceremony this Saturday at RPP Annex 6. The ceremony began with the readings of the verses from the Holy Quran, followed by the variety of entertainment. This event took place with the participation of the Minister of Youth, Mumin Asawi, the Minister of City, Amin Abdi Aden, the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, Ulufa Ismail Abdo, the Minister of Agriculture, Muhammad Ahmed Awali, and the Vice President of the National Assembly, Safiya Ilmi, and the parliamentarian of the National Assembly, the Dean Ali Abdi Farah, the President of the Commune of Bulaos, local elected officials, members of the local communities councils of the Annex RPP Neighborhood 6, the leaders of the Minister of Youth. The 46th anniversary of the National Independence festivity in Ali Sabih, enthusiastic Asajo prepares for June 27 celebrations like the rest of the Egyptian nations. Asajo from all walks of lives and all ages are getting ready to celebrate Independence Day. This evening, the festivity is commemorating the 46th anniversaries of national independence in the Union and a veritable alchemy of complicity, fuel of popular fervors on the local Independence Square. And in Dekhel, the meeting room of the prefectures of Dekhel hosted a meeting on the preparations for the country's 46th anniversary. The council meeting brought together the prefect Hassan Abdi Roble, the president of the regional council Mahad Hussein Ahmed, the local elected officials, civil society, young people and women. For the international scene, the International African American Museum soon opens its door in Charleston, South Carolina. It houses 9 galleries containing nearly a dozen of interactive exhibits of more than 115 historical objects and 30 works of art. That explains how the work and resistance of African Americans have shaped the U.S. And the world. The International African American Museum is an encyclopedic museum of African American history that traces our journey from origin stories on the African continent to modern times, explains Dr. Tonia Matthews, President and CEO of the International African American Museum. The museum is located in a historic site that was not chosen at random, one of the country's most important slave trading port. It overlooks the sacred sites of Gadsden's wharves where an estimated 45% of enslaved African entered America. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening. The Radio Television of Djibouti informs the public that it is looking for literary creations such